Hi, everybody. I'm David Rhodes,
I'm Philip Rivera.
I'm Nikki DeVries.
and today we're going to be talking about the anatomy of Pokemon.
So obviously, Pokemon are a fictional thing, so there's hard to compare anatomy between them and real world animals. However, as seen, because we have these unrealistic Pokemon on the screen, you have Chandelure, Sinistea, Dialga. These are not based off real world animals, but as David will soon explain,
Some Pokemon do have direct real-world counterparts. Pikachu is a mouse, Zigzagoon is a raccoon, Dugong is a dugong, and Maushold are mice. So we're going to start by talking about beaks. Who's that Pokemon? It's Oricorio and Pelipper. Pelipper is a seabird. This means that they live by the ocean. Pelipper's beak is broad and wide and has a hinge at the top to let it open and carry as much water as possible. This is because Pelipper uses its beak to dive into the water and scoop up as much water as it can, hoping to catch some fish along the way. Its beak is like a bucket. Oricorio, on the other hand, is a small bird that lives inland on an island. They sip nectar out of flowers. As a result, they need a beak that's long and thin in order to dip it into the flower to get the nectar at the bottom. So their beak is kind of like a straw. They are based on the animals the great white pelican and the Hawaiian honeycreeper. Both of these animals live in the real world, and they have functions that are very similar to the beaks that we've discussed already. So now, to talk about fins, is my friend Nikki.
Who's that Pokemon? This one is Finizen, and this one is Sharpedo. So Finizen is a water-type Pokemon that resembles a dolphin. It is able to sense the emotion of other creatures by using ultrasonic waves, and it lives in pods. The Finizen anatomically has a pair of pectoral fins, the ones on the side, a dorsal fin, the one on the top, and a split tail fin, the one in the back. The Sharpedo is a water/dark type Pokemon that resembles a shark. The Sharpedo has the capability to lose and regrow its fangs. As well, the Sharpedo has dorsal fins, which are very tall, and it has 2 notches in it. It has a pelvic fin directly opposite to it, and it has 2 pectoral fins. Now, what is the functional reason for these fins? Well, the Finizen has pectoral fins for steering and movement. The dorsal fin can help with balance and stability, and the split tail fin can help with propulsion. The Sharpedo has pectoral fins for steering and lift. The dorsal fin is used for balance and stability. It is missing a caudal fin, but this is replaced by the jet. And it has a pelvic fin, which helps with directional control. These are the real-world comparisons, and these are where we assume the functions are going to be coming from. So you have dolphins and you have a blue shark. Looking at the diagram, the pelvic fins are on the sides. You have the pectoral fin, which is on the top, and you have the caudal fin, which is in the back. The pectoral fin for dolphins is used for steering and movement, and in sharks it is also steering, but it can also help with lift. You have the dorsal fin, which you can think of like a keel on a boat, and the dolphins can use this for stability, temperature control, and hydrodynamics, while sharks use it to stabilize themselves so they don't spin in circles. And then you have the split tail in dolphins. This is horizontal. It goes up and down and helps with propulsion, while in sharks it is vertical and it goes side to side. And then you have the pelvic fin in sharks, which can stabilize them and help with direction control. And the fins in dolphins and sharks are analogous structures. What this means is they perform a similar function, i.e. movement and steering, but they have a different evolutionary origin. Dolphins evolved from land-dwelling mammals, while sharks evolved from fish. This is why dolphins have a skeletal structure, while sharks are cartilaginous and have cartilage. And a fun fact is that sharks are believed to have come into existence about 400 million years ago, earlier than dinosaurs. My friend here, Philip, is going to go over eyes.
so who's that Pokemon? It is Feraligatr and Clodsire. So, talking about the eyes, Feraligatr, eyes tell us a large amount of information about how an animal can behave because of just how long they've evolved. They typically are adapted to specific environments. They can tell us how the animal might feed, how they might interact with their environment, what their lifestyle might be. So with Feraligatr, who's based off an alligator, we know that he is likely a predator based on how his eyes are structured. We can assume that he might be aquatic, or at least semi-aquatic, because of the ways how his eyes are positioned above and on his head, which means that when he swims in the water, he can can keep his eyes above the water line if it so desires. We know this helps enable its predatory lifestyle in terms of ambushing prey because the eyes are above the top of the water. They can very easily see land animals that might be drinking by water holes that allows them to feed on them much more efficiently. In contrast, we know from Clodsire's very, very tiny eyes that it's likely very nearly blind. This is because the pupil and various other aspects of the eye that help it see are very, very small, so it doesn't have a large vision frame or picture, as we call it. We can also assume that this could mean that it's likely a bottom dweller based on the fact we know it lives in an aquatic environment, so it likely stays near the bottom area of ponds and lakes that it lives in, and it probably messes around in mud. This means that we know it navigates its environment and finds food, likely through other senses it has, such as smelling or hearing. We know this because if you compare them to their real-world analogs, which is again the American alligator for fraligator and the Chinese salamander for clodsire. So for fraligator, as you can see with our alligator friend on the screen, the eyes are above the head, which helps it ambush prey better, and then you have the large jaws, which indicate predatory origin. And with the Chinese salamander, we can see that the eyes are very small, all likely meaning that they don't have a ton of functional use and that it likely lives in the bottom area of the lakes that it lives in.
Thank you guys for listening to our presentation. We hope you had a good time. And before we go, we want to ask you guys one question. What's your favorite Pokemon that looks like a real animal? Go ahead and pause the recording to talk about it. All right, thank you everybody. We hope you have a great day.